next one will be Dominika Walec. She's gonna be talking about the Beacons and Nearables ready and set to revolutionize mobile. She's a very wonderful person. I talked to her today, and I read a lot about her yesterday. So I'm sure that you're gonna enjoy it. That she knows what she's doing. She's a key accountant manager at Estimote. And the most important thing, I think, is that in her portfolio, we can find over 10 projects within an overall budget of 6 million euros. So, and privately, she enjoys windsurfing and snowboarding, so I hope you're gonna have a snow very soon, and you're gonna have some fun. So, Dominika, the stage is yours.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you very much for a very kind introduction. One thing maybe to tell a bit more about what I do for Estimote is that I'm responsible for handling business operations, so mainly on the European and Asian market. And my job is a bit of tech evangelizing about the beacon technology, so I hope to share a few insights about technology itself with you today, but also to inspire, to a bit offer some consulting services in how to best use the technology. So hopefully you can refer to that also today. And definitely I'd like to present you a few use cases that we think that already were deployed with the beacons. So maybe you would be able to refer to them. But before I start the slides and the presentation, since my job is also to recognize the needs of the customers, because without the needs and the problems that we can actually identify, it's very difficult to deploy any technology at all or start any project. So if you don't mind, I'd like to first refer to you and start from asking you a few questions so that I have a bit more knowledge who's here. Because from what I know, the attendees of this conference are quite differentiated. So we have probably the mobile developers here. We have startups. So if you can tell me how many of you have heard about beacons before? Whoa, that's a lot. Okay, so how many of you haven't? So that would be much easier. Nobody? Oh, awesome. That's super great. So this is my presentation is very first. So I will do brief introduction, and on the second presentation, that will be my colleague Piotr, who will be going more in deep about how to develop the apps based on beacon technology. And after us, there will be 3 also awesome use cases of our colleagues from Europe that deployed the projects with our beacons. And hopefully they will give you some insights. Okay, and how many of you are app developers? Not many. Okay, and how many of you think that can deploy the beacon technology in your business? Wow, our people there, awesome. Okay, wonderful. I'm missing hands. Okay, let's start. So I'm not sure how many of you have participated in the Paul's presentation today, the one that was performed before lunch. But Paul referred to smartphones, and he was explaining a lot why those devices are super cool and why we use them every day, right? And we actually also believe that smartphones are amazing. And why is that? Well, as Paul told us, that the main advantage of those devices is that they compile a lot of previous devices that we had to use, like, the camera, right, the phone, the TV. So now we can work using our phones. We can watch our favorite series. We can see live streams of news and whatever. So it's super cool to have those devices, and we are so used to having them every day. I'm sure that each of you has at least one in your pocket. So it's great to have them. But there's one problem that we see, and we think that it's worth addressing, that causes that this technology may not be as smart as the name suggests. And the problem that we identified is the lack of context. It means that your phone, as soon as we are outdoors, it works great, right? Because we have GPS. So when we are in a new city or new place, we can always rely on that and try to find our way and use different apps there using GPS signal, right, to help us, to assist us, not only to find our way, but also to interact and find where we are at the given surrounding. And we are so used to that some of us probably would like to have this type of experience also indoors. And so far, it was very difficult to achieve that. So it was difficult as soon as you entered into the building, your phone was getting lost. So you couldn't identify the way around, so it couldn't provide you guidance on how to, for instance, let's say at the stadium, right? It's such a huge building, probably many of us could get lost. And iPhone is useless for that, right? Maybe having the conference app can help a bit, right? But it cannot give you precise location guidance and guide you from one room to another, and also cannot tell you or give you some contextual information regarding this room, right, or the other area that you are in. And we think that this type of experience can be improved. And this is not the kind of problem that we discovered as a company, but this is the kind of problem that many technologies before ours try to solve. And you probably know all of them that are listed. And the problem with those technologies was that they caused too much friction, because taking into account, for instance, the QR codes, what you had to do is you first had to scan the QR code, then it transferred you into the server side, right, to the URL, and that was not the kind of experience you would like to have. And the same with NFC, right? They're wonderful for payments, but when you think about interacting with some kind of objects around you, or living or not living ones, it would be very difficult to come very close to them, right? Even tapping them with RFID tags, it might be a bit too complicated. And with Wi-Fi is that definitely there are a lot of solutions, the network solutions that support the interlocation with Wi-Fi, and they're working quite well. But the problem with those is that not all projects can actually deploy them, because it's quite difficult to create this type of infrastructure, and it's definitely not cost effective. So there are multiple drawbacks in deploying all the four, and we believe that it should be seamless, so no friction, that everything should work. We call it even automatically. So without any need of tapping, scanning, or putting any additional effort, you should be delivered the kind of content that you need at the given moment. So your phone should be able to have eyes and recognize where you are at the given moment and give you the kind of assistance that you actually need. And we think that we see the future in that way. This is the kind of example from the retail surrounding, because we as a company were first focusing on retail because we see a lot of opportunities there. But obviously the possibilities of deploying this technology are super broad and can refer to all types of indoor spaces and even outdoors as well. So it should be this way that when you are, for instance, doing shopping at your favorite furniture store, right? And you're seeing this wonderful chair and you are trying, coming to it. Your phone should automatically recognize that you are near this chair and deliver you the kind of information that you need. So there's no need for approaching shopping assistants, waiting for this type of assistance, but your phone can actually provide this type of assistance for you. So you can see what kind of fabrics are available or what kind of colors are available, what's the price, what are the delivery terms, and stuff like that. So this is the kind of experience we are looking for, and we want to remove all the friction, all the problems that you can encounter in your daily lives. And this is the solution for that. So this is technology that it's called Beacons that we are, and this is the piece of hardware that our company is particularly producing. I have one with me here, so you can see what's the size of the beacon. We have obviously different colors of those, and they're available for you if you like. Okay, before I go to beacon introduction, do you have any questions to this part? Has anything been unclear, or you want to me to address something further? Okay. Hopefully it's not so boring. Okay, you've seen how the device is looking. So I will tell you a bit more about how it's built. So you on top of it you have silicone case that makes it waterproof, because those beacons, even though that they are dedicated to be placed indoors, they can also be placed outdoors, for instance, to attract people to come to a given event or make other types of functionalities, and they can also be placed outside. What's inside is the PCB with the ARM Cortex processor and Bluetooth Low Energy. That is the basic for the protocol of communication, and everything is running on a single coin battery, so it's a battery-driven device. And on the back you have this gecko sticky material that you could easily take off and place wherever you like. You can stick it to the walls, glass, or any other physical space. Okay, and a bit more on how it works. So the beacon is a bit working like a lighthouse. So it's when the lighthouse is sending the signal to attract ships, the beacon is sending the Bluetooth signal to attract phones, so that the phone can know where the beacons are, and in this way recognize the space that it's marked with the beacons. And in order to know for the phone which beacon is which, the beacons sound unique ID numbers that can be related to some kind of special notifications, information, videos, pictures, whatever you like in the application side. And one thing that it's probably worth mentioning is that the beacons have can be set to different ranges. So they can be as broad as 70 meters, as you see on the screen, but you can also adjust that, make it like super short, like 2-3 meters, and decide how far you want the person to interact with some specific space or object. And what's important also about the ranges is that you can trigger the action not only at the time when the person is entering into the beacon zone, but you can also try to use the distance from the beacon. So when the person is like very far from the beacon, you can trigger different types of interactions and trigger different type of notification when the person is like in the near or the immediate zone. So for instance, like for the far zone, you can, for instance, try to attract person to visit some kind of objects, but when the person is getting closer, you could like welcome them, right? So to show that you know that they're like getting there, and when they're actually immediately at the given object, you can, for instance, deliver the kind of information that are related to it, some special that are describing the given object. So the more detailed information can be provided. And how does the whole system work? Because I was saying that we are placing the beacons in some physical space, and this is definitely like one of the steps that have to be fulfilled. So the proper installation of the devices that also have some kind of challenges should be performed. But the other necessary element is definitely at the application. So some people sometimes ask us like how to put the information into the beacon, right? How to change the information into the beacon. So this is something that I'd like to clarify, is that everything is actually on the app side. So you do not put like any information on the beacon, because the only thing the beacon does is that it sends the signal, right? That is picked up by the application. So every infrastructure that you want to create, all the interactions that you want to trigger with beacons have to be first designed in the app. And as I said, the content should be related by recognizing like which beacons is which, right, and where you want this interaction to be performed. And this content can be like limited only by probably by your creativity and the skills of the developers that will be creating the application. But there are like two types of solutions in which the content can be delivered. Like the content can be either hard-coded in the presentation, or not the presentation, but the application. But or it can be like taken directly from the server. So you can like make the app live and change the content, build the content management system that would allow you to change the content and make it more live, depending on your needs and the project. And so those were the big beacons that I have already showed you. And this is something that I wanted to also refer to. Those are like the smaller version of beacons that we are currently releasing. And I have like one here on my badge, so that you could. So you see like the developer kit with 10 different stickers that we have, and this is this beta version of it because we will ship those at the beginning of next year. And what's the difference about this version and the current that I have shown you is that those small stickers are more dedicated to be attached like to single objects, either the ones that are live, like your dog, or the ones that are like physical, available in a given space, like chair or a computer or any other objects that you would be able to interact with. And by placing this type of sticker on a given object, we believe that you can turn them into the so-called Nearables. So you can make those objects live, and you can interact with it either by using your phone or by using different types of other digital tools, like for instance, use the digital screen when you have like, let's say, the shopping mall, also kind of store of the given brand, and you stick the beacon to the shoe. You can, for instance, see how the customer is interacting with that shoe, and this interaction can trigger different types of content on, for instance, digital screen. So it doesn't have to be always only the phone of the user. And now I'd like to show you the movie that is introducing the stickers, and also explaining a bit about technology itself, but also giving some examples of how this technology can be used. So hopefully it will be inspiring.
As you walk, your eyes process terabytes of information about the world around you. Your subconscious is constantly scanning for recognizable objects and locations to give you context and help you navigate. But if you close your eyes for a moment, you can only walk a few steps before your brain loses its context and forces you to stop. That's the world your smartphone lives in every day. It's a powerful computer, but it's completely blind. Last year, we introduced Estimote beacons to solve just that. They're small sensors that can be placed anywhere to provide context and microlocation to any smart device. Now, we're introducing Estimote stickers, tiny beacons with built-in accelerometers and temperature sensors. You can stick them to any of your favorite objects nearby. We call them Nearables. Using stickers in our rich SDK, you can build a new generation of amazing context-aware apps. For example, if you stick one to your bike, your phone can automatically track your routes, record where you left it, and even detect motion if someone moves it. Or, how about an app that can turn on an alarm clock only when you need it? You have a 9 a.m. meeting on your calendar, and thanks to the sticker, your phone knows that your context is still the bedroom, and since traffic is backed up, it wakes you up a few minutes early. What about when a customer picks up something they're interested in? Because the sticker can sense motion, they can be presented with relevant information about the color options, similar products, or specials. Then, at the end of the day, a store owner can see what products customers are interacting with most, and use that info to fine-tune promotions and sales, or make adjustments to the store layout. The potential applications are endless, even something as simple as an app that lets you know when you forget your bag when you leave a coffee shop. Join thousands of developers worldwide and build your own apps for Nearables. Order your sticker development kit today. Estimote. Reality matters.
So yeah, hope the video presented it well. The one thing that maybe I'd like to add to what I haven't said is that the stickers, what they have is that they have this accelerometer inside. So as you have seen on the movie, this is a very cool feature that would allow you to detect the movement of a given object. So that can also trigger different types of interactions. And as I was saying at the very beginning about the problem that we want to solve about also having the ability to locate people indoor and trying to support them so that we can guidance them in the locations that can be difficult for them to explore. This is the kind of challenge we want to refer to with our new product software that it's in the location, and we want to make it happen just with the beacons. And we have released the first version of that, so it's both a simple app that shows it can assist you on how to measure your given location, how to set it up, and create an interactive map of it, but also the SDK for the developers to try it out and try to build the apps for it. And when you set your room, what the current version can do is that with 1 or 1.5 meter precision, you can actually see your movement inside the given location. So this is the kind of experience we want to achieve also for bigger spaces, because now it's for single locations only, but we believe that this is the kind of solution that would be also wonderful for building many apps on top of it. So this is the example of how this indoor location might look like. This is again the shopping surroundings, so the person could actually walk around and be guided on the phone on where exactly to go in order to get some specific content. Okay, and now more practical part. So I'd like to give you a few examples of how to use the technology and how other people are actually using it. And since we will have more practical examples, I've selected only some of the projects that we work with. So this is the example of Mercedes-Benz that is using our beacons in one of their dealer stores in Germany. And what they are doing is that they place the beacon around the dealer store, and when the person that wants to buy the car comes in, it can actually get more information about each of the cars, because each car is marked with the beacon, so you can get really specific detailed information about every model of the car, and definitely get more information about it, so it makes it more digitalized and more interactive. Yes, in terms of airlines, there are definitely a lot of airlines and airports that want to explore this technology. And one of the example of the airlines that is currently using it is EasyJet. And it's really cool use case, because they're actually trying to solve the problem that we might have with trying to search for the boarding passes wherever we are and we need to present it. So thanks to their app and thanks to integration with the beacons, we can actually now have the boarding pass present on our phone directly at the time when we need it. So it's not it's present all the time, right? But only it's triggered when we are at the security or area, or when we are, for instance, at the given gate. So directly at the time when we should present it, and without need to search for it. This is also a very cool use case of the Downtap app, and this is the kind of experience we would like to see with the beacons, because it makes our lives a bit easier. I like it especially because I'm looking forward to this type of solution in Poland, to be able to go to for lunch and have the kind of experience that this app is delivering. So what they are doing is that in the Copa Cafe in Palo Alto, they have placed the beacons in on the tables. So when the person is actually coming to the cafe and having the downtown app on their phones, and they can sit directly at the table, and at the moment when they do that, their phone is recognizing their presence and it's triggering automatically the menu on their phones. So you can now like select what kind of meal you want to have, and the order is automatically pushed to the kitchen, and like after, let's say 10-15 minutes, the waiter is like bringing it to your table, because it can also recognize where you are sitting. So, and after you eat, you get the bill on your phone, and you can pay directly from the phone as well. So it's like closing the whole loop without necessary to like wait for the waiter first to take the order, then to pay. And I think that obviously it's not like for all types of restaurant experience, but definitely for the lunch during the times when you're actually in a rush, those type of solutions could be interesting. This technology is like also very commonly used by different types of museums and theme parks. And today, one of our colleagues, the Lucas from Prophets, will definitely present you a wonderful case of the museum deployment from the Rubenshaus Museum in Antwerp. But I wanted to refer also to the other example of Tulpenland that is placing beacons all over the visitor's path, so that they can actually recognize next to which stage of the path they are, and get all the relevant information at the time when they're visiting a given element of the exhibition. The null is also quite interesting example for us, because it was the first use case in which we were using the data that are that can be collected through the beacons, because the side of triggering different interaction for the user is just one side of possibilities of using the technologies. There are also like multiple possibilities on the side of a given brand or the owner of the beacon that they can actually collect a lot of data based on those devices, and this company is actually taking benefit of those data. So what they did is that they placed the beacons inside their showrooms in Chicago, and because the Knoll is the company that is designing the work office spaces. So they're like furniture company, and they're willing to optimize the office spaces for different companies in US. And they wanted to see how people are interacting with furnitures, but also how they work in general. So now, thanks to the beacon technology, is that before they actually arrange any office space, they're putting beacons inside it for some time, and ask the employees to work the way they were before. And by doing that, they are collecting a lot of data that can actually support them in building the analysis based on which they would be able to arrange the space better, because they can recognize the patterns and also the habits of the people, how they interact with a given space, and what are their working habits. This is also a very nice use case I wanted to present, because the beacons are quite often used at different types of events, like conferences or music festivals and other like film festivals. So this is the example of using the beacons by Volumi, and they use it at one of the concerts. And it's a really nice use case, because what they did is that they placed the beacons all over the place where the concert was taking place. And each beacon referred to the given sections in which the crowd was placed. And when they noticed like that the super fans of the given band were like too far from the scene, at some time at the very beginning of the concert, they were like sending them push notifications that they have the chance to upgrade their seats and come closer to the scene. So it was really a nice experience for the people that came in and for the fans. And they were also like giving them some kind of opportunities to get some awards that were related to a given artist. So that's the kind of nice use case, I think. Okay, and so those were like practical examples and some lessons learned from those, but also from the other deployments that we have currently seen. The most important part is that the beacons are, we can call them that they are actually the easy part, because as I said, beacons are only a part of the piece, right? So the other crucial element for this whole interaction to take place is to well design the interaction in the app. So, and this is actually the most important part. So, and what we should take into account is not only the business perspective of the person or the institution that is actually creating an app, but also on the perspective of the end user, so that we can actually deliver the added value to that user, and definitely either solve some kind of problem or hustle the user currently has, because without that, if it would be like focused on like just sending coupons, as many retailers would like it to be, it might kill the technology, and but also like discourage people from using the app itself. So the use case is definitely one of the most challenging elements, and the one that you should take into account while designing this type of experience. And the best strategy to do that and to implement the Beacon project is definitely to use like those small step strategy. So like first, like try to crawl. So create some maybe demo application that based on identifying some kind of use cases, the appealing ones, solving problems, and selecting like few of them first, right? And trying to implement that, trying to test that, and try get people to work with them, getting used to using this technology. And then after that stage, trying to extend the functionalities, so trying to add more features, and finally come to the final shape of the app that you would like to have. Because it's one thing is just to extend the features of the app, but also the way of like integrating different devices, finding the proper settings for them is also challenging. So all those stages have to be like well designed. And lastly, since it's also an event dedicated to startups and we are quite a fresh company on the market, I wanted to tell you a bit about Estimote. So definitely, one of the main things that we are focusing on this iBeacon technology, and we are definitely one of the leaders in that field. And currently, over 30,000 developers are working on our hardware and software platform, because besides delivering the hardware that I have described, we are obviously also delivering a lot of software tools that are necessary to to manage all the fleet of beacons that you will have or that the customers are having. And this type of tools and development of them is also takes a lot of work, and many employees of our companies are dedicated to that. And currently we are like over 50 employees in 3 offices. But when I joined the company like last year in September, we were like 12. So you can imagine like how rapid growth we went through 1 year only. And it's hard to say which office is like main one, because the biggest team we're having definitely in Krakow, because all the hardware and software developers and also the design team that is responsible for the shape of beacons and other elements of our brand creation is located in Krakow. And also like my team and community team that is also very important for building the relationship with developers are located there. But we also have like 2 other offices in the US, because the company is like partly US and partly Polish. And in New York we have like the big business team that is operating mainly for the US market, because it's definitely a very important market for us. And in San Francisco, we also have more business-related unit. We started to ship the devices in 2013 in August, just after the Apple announced iBeacon. And maybe interesting thing to mention is also about the funding that allows us to grow so fast. So after the 2 co-founders, Jacob and Lucas, graduated Y-Combinator, we managed to get some external funds, mainly from the US investors, and we gathered like $3.4 million funding that allow us to grow the company. And that we are certified Apple provider of the iBeacon technology. And lastly, I wanted to tell you like how to start working with beacons. So I'm not sure whether some of you have seen the developer kits. We provide the so-called testing sets that you could use to actually start working with beacons. And there are like 3 units in it, so you could order them on our website. And you can obviously also access a lot of like more software tools, right? The code SDK that is available on GitHub and together with some demos also on how to use the technology. It's more or less what I have prepared like for you. I'm sure that my colleagues will go much deeper into all the aspects that I have slightly underlined. Is there something like you would like to ask me specifically, or that something is not clear and it's better to refer to it again? Okay. I'm sorry, do you hear him well, or shall I pass the...
Is the battery power an issue for the beacons, and are you planning using an induction or other technology that charges the devices wirelessly?
Yeah, so definitely the battery can be a bit of a challenge, because obviously the lifetime of the device is limited by the battery, right? But obviously there are a lot of solutions that we are testing like internally, but for the next months to come, definitely we think that those devices will be charged by the batteries. It may change in size, right, of what kind of battery we might use. But there's also a software layer inside the beacon that we are like very hard working on in order to extend the battery life. And what we are offering is the very smart like power modes that can actually extend the lifetime of the battery. So like at the very beginning stage when we were like shipping the devices in September, the battery was a true issue because we weren't like focused on that at the very beginning, because we were like more focused on like shipping the devices as soon as possible and getting the people their hands on the tools so that they can actually start working. But then when we realized that the battery may not survive as long as we expected, we extended like the size of it, right? But we also like pushed our software developers so that they can actually create a kind of firmware that could extend those battery lives. And now those performances have been like doubled. So when we are first expecting the beacons to last around a year, 2 years, now it's like 3, 4, and even 5, depending on the setting. So for this type of rather inexpensive device, we are thinking that it's enough. But it doesn't mean that we as a company are not like working hard in order to make it even longer. Okay, I've just heard that I've extended my time. So, are there like more questions? If not, yeah. Okay.
I can skip that one if you're sure. Okay. So I'm wondering about this issue of notifications. So the natural instinct is to use beacons to trigger notifications, and how you're going to deal with this issue that people are already complaining about too many notifications. Right now you have this from online services and from online experiences. You will add physical interactions and you will have even more notifications on the phone. So how do you deal with this problem?
You mean that you are afraid that people will be spammed in some way, right? So this is the kind of problem we think that should not exist, because what we are obviously depends a lot from the app developer, right? How they will design the experience. But one of definitely the obstacle of this scenario to be implemented is that the user has to have an app on in order to get the notifications. So if the person that is designing the app will spam him, definitely he will remove it, right? So it's like one of the forcing factors for the app developers to, think about the really good experience for the user, so that he can actually get this value added that I've mentioned before, and not the spam, right? So we won't. Obviously, there might be this type of cases, but as I said, I think that they will end it really soon, because people would be removing this type of applications. Okay, and I know that we are super running out of time, so you could like refer to me or Peter or any other colleagues that will be having like presentation after us, and during the coffee break. Okay, thank you very much. Sorry.